This is Roger Hibbard and his beautiful wife Elizabeth, and we're reading our 4 chapters through the Bible. And tonight we are in the 33rd chapter of Numbers and recounting Israel's journey. So here we go with Numbers 33. And these are the stages of the people of Israel when they went out of the land of Egypt by their companies under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. Moses wrote down their starting places stage by stage by command of the Lord, and these are the stages according to their starting places. They set out from Ramesses in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month. On the day after the Passover, the people of Israel went out triumphantly in the sight of all the Egyptians, while the Egyptians were burying all their firstborn, whom the Lord had struck down among them. On their gods also the Lord executed judgment. So the people of Israel set out from Ramesses, and I don't know, they might say Ramesses, but it's Ramesses, and camped at Succoth. And they set out from Succoth and camped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. And they set out from Etham and turned back to Pi-hahiroth, which is east of Baal-zephon. And they camped by Migdal, before Migdal. And they set out from before Hahiroth and passed through the midst of the sea into the wilderness. And they went a 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etham and camped at Marah. And they set out from Marah and camped to Elim. In Elim there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there. And they set out from Elim and camped by the Red Sea. And they set out from the Red Sea and camped in the wilderness of Sin. And they set out from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dophkah. And they set out from Dophkah and camped at Alush. And they set out from Alush and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. And they set out from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And they set out from the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kibroth Hattaavah. And they set out from Kibroth Hattaavah and camped at Hazeroth. And they set out from Hazeroth and camped at Rithmah. And they set out from Rithmah and camped at Ramon Perez. And they set out from Ramon Perez and camped at Libnah. And they set out from Libnah and camped at Rissah. And they set out from Rissah and camped at Kehilatha. And they set out from Kehilatha and camped at Mount Shephar. And they set out from Mount Shephar and camped at Haradah. And they set out from Haradah and camped at Makkeheloth. And they set out from Makkeheloth and camped at Tahath. And they set out from Tahath and they camped at Terah. And they set out from Terah and camped at Mithkah. And they set out from Mithkah and camped at Hashmonah. And they set out from Hashmonah and camped at Moseroth. And they set out from Moseroth and they camped at Beni Jaakan. And they set out from Beni Jaakan and camped at Hor Haggidgad, and they set out from Hor Haggidgad and camped at Jabbathah, and they set out from Jabbathah and camped at Abrona, and they set out from Abrona and camped at Ezion Geber, and they set out from Ezion Geber and camped in the wilderness of Zin, that is Kadesh, and they set out from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor on the edge of the land of Edom. And Aaron the priest went up Mount Hor at the command of the Lord and died there in the 40th year after the people of Israel had come out of the land of Egypt on the first day of the 5th month. And Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. And the Canaanite, the king of Arad, who lived in the Negeb in the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the people of Israel, and they set out from Mount Hor and camped at Zalmonah, and they set out from Zalmonah and camped at Punan, and they set out from Punan and camped at Oboth, and they set out from Oboth and camped at Ebarim in the territory of Moab, and they set out from Lion and camped at Dibon Gad, and they set out from Dibon Gad and camped at Almon Diblathaim, and they set out from Almon Diblathaim and camped in the mountains of Abarim before Nebo, and they set out from the mountains of Abarim and camped at the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. They camped by the Jordan from Beth Jeshimon as far as Abel Shittim in the plains of Moab. And the Lord spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan, Jericho, saying, Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, When you pass over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all of the inhabitants of the land from before you and destroy all their figured stones and destroy all their metal images and demolish all their high places, and you shall take possession of the land and settle it, for I have given the land to you to possess it. You shall inherit the land by lot according to your clans. To a large tribe you shall give a large inheritance, and to a small tribe you shall give a small inheritance. Wherever the lot falls for anyone that shall be his, according to the tribes of your fathers, you shall inherit. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land before you, then those of whom you let remain shall be barbs in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they shall trouble you in the land where you dwell, and I will do to you as I thought to do to them. And now we're going to go to Psalms 119, where we're dividing it into 4 parts because it is such a long psalm. And so today we will be in Psalm 74, and we will go from Psalm 119:74 all the way through verse 104. So it's beautiful. Those who fear you shall see me. Okay, that was what we just finished, was Numbers 33. Now we'll start for Psalm 119.